Yeah, the last big thing that we want to talk about is the ties to your home country. And this is where a lot of people also have questions, because like we mentioned, the three things that they're looking for is somebody who is really interested and has a purpose to travel and can sponsor himself, number two. And then the third thing is that the person is going to return. And if the person is going to return, then the person must have something that would naturally make him or her come back home, right? So returning is a very important thing. And that's where the ties to home country come in. It's not just an abstract idea that people are making a lot of big issues out of this, but that's not what it is. The point is that you should be able to prove that afterwards you're coming back home. And that's where you get questions like, do you have relatives? How many siblings do you have? And where are your siblings? Are you married? Do you have children? How old are you? How old are your parents? What are your goals and all of that? Because think about it. If you have aging parents who are growing old, and you are going to study in America, you definitely would not want to stay, in the country. Like logically, you would not want to stay in the country and watch your aging parents age, get sick, and die off without coming back home to see them. So it shows to some extent, it might not be the strongest proof, but it shows to some extent that there's something home that might compel you to come back. Some of the things would be like a job. Like if you have a very lucrative job, and it's even better if your job is the one sponsoring you to go and study, and they are the ones who have given you a promise that if you return back home, they're going to give you this number of like roles and this position to come and serve in. That could be like a strong tie. If you are married, and sometimes people confuse this, if you are married and your spouse is at home or your child is at home, then definitely as a logical person and a normal person, it makes sense to think that or expect that you would not stay somewhere in a foreign country and watch your young child or your young spouse live alone and raise a child alone. So your family can be some sort of a strong ties to you. Your siblings, if you have a lot of them and they are in your home country, that can be like a way of proving your strong ties. And sometimes property that you own, like if you own a property, you own a land, you own something very significant, something substantial, it's a proof that you are going to come back home, right? So these are some of the ways that you can, prove that, there's something going to tie you back to your country. Now, let me say this. This is very important, that all the ideas that we are throwing out there, they are not the only ways you can prove things. That's why anytime we talk about all these things, we talk about the main purpose, the main goal, the main thing we are trying to prove. And in this case, the main thing we are trying to prove is the fact that you have intentions of returning back home. And however you are going to explain and show in a very convincing, persuasive, demonstrative way that you will return back home, I think you should explore that pathway. In my case, I basically said that I have a strong interest. I did have a job, a job letter that was going to get me back home, but that didn't come up. What came up was, what are your goals? And I'm like, this is where I need to prove to them that my goal and my career plan is back home, right? It is with my people in my home country. So I said something like, I plan to return back home and be involved in this and that that is going on in my country because I'm very passionate about it. And I've been doing it for a while, based on my experience. I'm like, nice. This guy is thinking about his home country. So those are some of the subtle ways you can sort of like nudge yourself into. There are situations where like already another aspect of your story has given you away so much that you might need a stronger evidence to show that you will come back home. And that's where like maybe your savings or your property or something more substantial than just saying that you're going to return back home will be important. But for the most part, showing your clear intention that you have a passion-driven interest in coming back home and connecting your life to your home country is enough to show that you will return home.
Yes, Paul, I think that is a wonderful way to describe it. One of the ladies I coach, and she had her visa last weekend. When she went, one of the questions came. And you see, when you go for the interview and they ask you, what are your plans after school? And after you don't get your visa, then it is your own mistake. Yeah. I'm telling you. Because when the consular brings himself, that what is your plan after school? That is the time to make yourself big in your society.
Yeah.
This lady, she contacted me and I told her that, okay, so when she go, she comes from one of the northern region in Ghana, right? And she was like, so she is a woman and her primary interest is to be involved in politics and also women empowerment in the northern region.
That sounds good already.
Yes, especially when women are dropped out of school and teenage pregnancy. So for her, her primary goal is to encourage women in the northern region of Ghana. And Koso said, oh, okay, that sounds good. You see, it is so sweet, so nice, so wonderful. So it is sometimes you can use your own community as an example. Sometimes you can use your own. You are currently a teaching assistant. So you are going to study in order to return to be a research assistant. You are going to study in order to return to be a lecturer. Like, let your experience talk. Let yourself talk. What is your current situation? How does your studies, how will it help you meet your career goal? And what is the benefit? What benefit would the entire society have? They are not looking for something that will just make you great. They are looking for something that will make the world great. Because, sometimes the counselors know that if you have a very wonderful plan, even when you are in America, American government can benefit from you.
Yep.
They are looking for skilled people in their country. They are looking for people who can enhance their potential, not people who can give them problems. So it is important to think about your society, think about your area. Maybe if your church is sponsoring you, is there a problem? Is there something that you think you are going to be empowered to come and do? Maybe you are going to study because, yes, your church wants you to have that kind of diverse perspective so that you can come back and teach in your church Bible school so that you can bring that diversity. You can bring that uniqueness. Now, the world is moving into a diversified world. So try to be unique. Your goals should not be, I'm going to study so that after I return to my country and work where. Right?
It's too shallow.
Yes.
Like you rightly said, at the end of the day, as I have realized it, and also from the experiences of other people, those who really take the time to think about the process very well and for a long time, they are the ones who usually get the visa. Because if you know these three things we've already talked about, and you are thinking about ties to your home country, and you think deeply about your own story and the things that you are passionate about, I'm very sure, Alfred, that you can find a solid reason that would make sense to the consular and will strengthen your story and will strengthen the reason why you should be back home. So
when I went to interview, Paul, I was asked why didn't I study the course in Ghana? But I'm going to study in Colombia. I said, well, because as a youth leader, I believe that I need some perspective. I'm going to the school because of the perspective I carry, and I hope to bring that perspective into Ghana to come and help bring a different story in the religious. So always be unique, and this comes by planning, thinking, by trying to work on and see what you can answer, and getting proper coaching, getting proper help, reading and speaking to the right people.
That's right.